Hello, this is Ken Yeager, President of the Yosemite Climbing Association. I'd like to welcome everyone to the 18th Annual Yosemite Facelift. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel by pressing that button on there. We have some great programming tonight.
And I'm Laura Waddles, the Executive Director at the YCA, and I want to start off by thanking all of our volunteers. We have had over 1,000 people register this year, and we surpassed our numbers from last year. So thank you so much for your engagement. That's really important for the success of this event and the continuation of this event. So thank you for that. And I also want to remind you that although pre-registration is done for the Yosemite portion, you can still sign up for Act Local. The way that you will do that is you will go to yosemiteFacelift.com. You'll see instructions there to pre-register. And you'll want to make sure that you also take a photo of yourself cleaning up trash. And then post that on Instagram, #FaceliftsActLocal. That will enter you to win a giveaway. So Patagonia has generously given us 2 jackets a day for volunteers, 1 men's and 1 women's. It's their micro puff jacket, and the colors will vary, but 2 of those are given away each day. So make sure that you post a photo and #FaceliftsActLocal. I also want to thank our co-presenting sponsor, the North Face, and of course, Subaru, the official vehicle of Facelift, and we will hear a quick word from them.
What kind of value are you looking for with your next new vehicle? With Subaru, you get Kelley Blue Book's 2020 Best Resale Value brand, 2020 Lowest 5-Year Cost to Own brand, and Most Trusted brand for 6 consecutive years. No wonder Kelley Blue Book also picked Subaru as their 2020 Best Overall brand. A trusted brand and a proven value. It's easy to love a Subaru.
Thanks again to our sponsors. Up next, we have a short clip from a film about Hetch Hetchy, and that will be followed by a Q&A.
True.
Yeah, so I believe that's our objective right here.
Yeah, that's Hetch Hetchy Dome.
It's so reminiscent of Yosemite Valley. It's a doppelganger.
Very few people get back there, and even fewer get up on the walls.
A big difference between Hetch Hetchy and Yosemite Valley is the conflict. Hetch Hetchy was drowned, was lost. Hetch Hetchy needs advocates, as Yosemite does, to try and undo the damage done.
Their mission is to restore this place to its original state without the dam.
Our vision for Hetch Hetchy is to relocate the reservoir, keep San Francisco whole with respect to water, and return the valley to park visitors. It's that simple, but obviously complicated.
Hey, Lucho.
Looking forward to meeting up with Lucho, a great friend of many years of climbing in Yosemite.
I've been coming out here about 20 plus years, and it's not as easy as just rolling into Yosemite Valley. It takes a little bit more will and passion. Timmy and I are about to repeat this resurrection, close to 2,000 feet.
So good to finally feel the granite and be able to look up and see a sea of it above us. All the fixins for a good adventure. Come on.
What was really unique about climbing in Hetch Hetchy was how few people are here. It's truly this wild place.
Timmy was excited, as always, to check some new place out.
Wakey, wakey!
So it was quite an experience. Timmy's definitely one of those personalities that I feel like I looked up to when I was pretty green in Yosemite Valley, you know.
Got you, buddy.
The potential for Hetch Hetchy is vast.
This is such a killer view, and what a great perspective again.
What's around the corner? That's always driven me.
There's lots of places that we can and should restore. Dams have been coming out all over. We want the restoration program here to show how people can get by without this one medium-sized reservoir and still deliver all the water to the cities and all the water to the farms. This could be our next new national park.
So to finally come here and do that feels really good. And then it also feels like it's just the start of something.
Well, thank you so much for that. That's some beautiful photography in there. And with me, I have two people that were involved in the film. First one is Spreck Rosenkrantz, sitting next to me here. He's the Executive Director of Restore Hetch Hetchy. And on the other side here, we have Lucho, who was the climber, one of the climbers in the film. You may have recognized Timmy O'Neill, was the other climber in here. My first question I have is actually for Spreck. If you take this dam out and all this water disappears, obviously you're going to have to catch it somewhere else downstream in order for San Francisco to have their water and the farmers to have their water. Do you have a location picked out for that?
Of course, it's important to know Don Pedro downstream is 6 times the size of Hetch Hetchy Reservoir, and there's depleted groundwater basins in the east of Turlock area that could take more than the amount of water we have here and keep everybody whole with respect to water and power. Like Ken says, it's essential. We're not going to be able to restore Hetch Hetchy unless we solve the water problem. That's the most obvious answer. They can also recycle water in San Francisco. But on a volume basis, it's not that big. It can be done. Other communities in California have done far more to lessen their impact on the environment. San Francisco can do it. They just need the motivation.
How long has Restore Hetch Hetchy been working on this project?
We were founded in 2000, and we got some interest from the Schwarzenegger administration. 2005, 2006, we went on the ballot in San Francisco. 2012, we went to state court. 2015, 2016, we've yet to succeed, but we're going to stick with it, and because there's no other opportunity anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world to return such a spectacular piece of a national park to the public. This is Yosemite after all. I think we all love Yosemite, and it can be even better.
And I understand also there was quite a bit of pushback from people from San Francisco when you first came up with the idea. And has that changed? Are people starting to get behind you now?
There's certainly the younger people are maybe more open-minded. They're less stuck with the ways of the past, but there's still the leadership in San Francisco needs to be influenced, and we need people to join us and to help us change the minds of the elected officials in San Francisco to where they realize they can make a change, they can get all the water, and they can be part of this restoration. I think once San Francisco gets behind this, it will happen, and it'll be a restoration they can be proud of.
Wow, that sounds great. I would, for one, would love to climb there, and I'd love to see it in its pristine state. Now I got some questions for you, Lucho. Thank you so much, Spreck. I appreciate that. What's the climbing like there? Would you compare it to Yosemite Valley crack climbing, Tuolumne climbing with knobs and crystals, or what's it like?
You know, the climbing in Hetch Hetchy is really like valley climbing. There's a lot of exposure. There's big walls there. It's a lot of really burly crack climbing, and it's just impeccable, like granite, just really bulletproof granite, like you would find in the valley on any given big wall. It's kind of like, you know, it's one of those really unique places that's still part of Yosemite National Park, but it's just like really remote. It's doesn't get climbed a lot, doesn't get a lot of action like Yosemite Valley, only because I think it's Yosemite Valley is so accessible, and Hetch Hetchy is really kind of hard to access unless you know the ins and outs of getting into there. You know, you need a wilderness permit. You kind of need a lot of days to be able to plan out a trip, and yeah, the logistics are just a lot harder. But climbing is really good. I mean, it's just like the valley.
I don't know much about the history of climbing in Hetch Hetchy, but have you studied it at all, or do you know who kind of pioneered the climbing there?
I think a lot of the people who pioneered the climbing in Hetch Hetchy were the same pioneers of Yosemite Valley. Warren Harding, Galen Rowell were kind of the first names I think that popped up there. Joe Faint, I think. Just a lot of old school Yosemite climbers. And you know, through the years, I think it's just been mostly valley climbers who have ended up putting up first ascents there, showing each other, you know, what they found or what potential routes might go up. So,
what's your favorite route?
My favorite route's probably the route that I did on Wapama Rock. I did a route called Pamapunku, which goes up kind of the middle of Wapama Rock, and it's a 14 pitch route, kind of has a bunch of different styles from cracks to face, and it's just as good as any route in Yosemite Valley. Just never really gets climbed because there isn't that much info out there.
What can you say to people about Hetch Hetchy and the future of Hetch Hetchy?
I would say make the effort to go out there and climb it. Reach out to people like me or Timmy, and you know, people who have climbed there, or if you know someone that has climbed there. There isn't a lot of information on the internet at this point, and there aren't any routes and guidebooks, but I think through word of mouth, like a lot of climbers can end up going there and really enjoying like the climbing in Hetch Hetchy.
Kind of sounds like we need to do a big facelift there, huh?
Yeah.
Take that dam out.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Lucho.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sprek, and gosh, that was really amazing to hear about that. And next, I'd like to introduce Hedris Ramos, who's our featured musician for tonight. He comes from Guatemala, played with and opened for Guns N' Roses. He's self-taught, and he's a studio musician from the LA area, currently residing in Austin, Texas.
Hey guys, what's up? Hedris here. I just want to say thanks to everybody that is helping with the cleaning and recycling. I think this is a great cause, and I think we should keep supporting this. I believe we should keep our oceans, our rivers and lakes, our forests, our streets very clean, and we should teach this to next generations and just keep supporting this and educating people. So great work out there, and let's keep doing this. Cheers.
Thanks so much, Hedris, for that video. He's such a talented musician, and actually one of our team members, Ed Whittle, actually takes lessons with him, which is pretty cool. I want to take this time to remind everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more content like this. Up next, we get to premiere a film called Girls Gone Wide from one of our own. So Kaya, who manages our social media, this is her film, and we will follow up that film with a live Q&A. So enjoy the premiere of Girls Gone Wide.
We are here in Vidavoo, Wyoming to climb Off with Cracks for a month.
Bouldering, rope climbing, although everything here is basically a boulder anyway because it's like 25 feet long.
I really like the style. I really like placing big cams, and I've come to Vidavoo to do more of it.
What the fuck am I doing here?
I have quite an ambitious list of projects for this month.
I only have 2 because the VU is hard and I might only send 2.
Spatial relations.
Here to get my ass whooped, basically.
Bad Girl's Dream.
Ugh. I'm here to try hard stuff.
Jihad.
This is a pain in the ass route.
My main goal, the one that I'm most excited about, is Big Pink.
Fucking shit.
And then Whipping Boy. Mary and I are gonna be here for a month, climbing some of the hardest, nastiest offwits in Vidavoo. Actually, Mary's gonna climb the hardest, nastiest offwits in Vidavoo, and I'm gonna project Big Pink for a month.
The climbing in Vidavoo, I think, is particularly unique.
Grades are just kind of up here.
The climbing out here is so hard.
The crystals are much larger and much less forgiving.
It's very few wins and a lot of failure.
It's like flat all around, and then all of a sudden there's just these like piles of rocks all over. It's whimsical, it's painful, it challenges you in a way that I don't think other places like it do.
Big Pink has been on my list for about a year. I think of it as like the partner climb to Worm Drive. I was here a year ago and I projected Worm Drive for a couple weeks. And when I sent it, it felt like very affirming that it was like, I can climb hard offwits. Coming back to Vidavoo, Big Pink was high up on my list. I don't love it. I went up to it the first day that we were out here and I kind of flailed.
Keep me tight, Mike. Just keep me really tight, Mike. This is the most desperate thing I've ever done. Falling. I can take. Ah! Yeah, if you had big fists, this would be sick.
I have tiny hands, and I'm not as strong as Mary. I can't armbar for that long.
Yeah, I think I gotta go right side.
I decided to completely flip everything around and go right side in and just get like the most shittiest, tightest chicken wings that I could imagine.
Ooh, it's big. It's big and it's pink. I'm getting out of here. Let's do it again. With style.
You did it with style. You look pretty.
I did all the moves.
That's good.
And then I came back and tried it. It did not go well. My shoes were falling apart.
Well, falling. Yeah, I'll just go into chicken wing there.
Kaya she's a very unique person.
Okay, man. The top part doesn't feel so bad. If I can just do that a little bit, it's fucking done.
It's very much like improv. It's like yes and.
That crux is a bitch.
Good job, dude.
Fuck me.
It's not a bitch, you're a bitch.
That's true.
And then I rested for about an hour and went back to it. I just thought, like, I was like, you know, I'm just gonna do my best. I'm just gonna fucking go for it.
Like, you can go hands-free. You just have to, like, really commit to the karate kicks and that, like, bottom heel toe to press on it.
There's one section where I get like a really bad chicken wing and my feet are really bad and I had to just like press up and I started slipping out and I just like made the decision, I'm not gonna give up. Like, I'm slipping, but I'm gonna keep trying.
She's doing the tightest chicken wings she could do and screaming, and we're just getting hyped.
Come on! Come on, Kaya! Come on!
I like walked my foot up a little higher and it was like the hardest thing I've ever done.
Nice, come on.
Dig, go, Kaya!
And then I got through that crux. I was like, fuck, okay, I did that part. Don't give up now.
Dude, she's fucking got it.
That was so rad, dude. Oh my god, her screams. Rad.
And finally getting to the chains, like, it felt really good.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, dude!
I could feel her like deciding to try harder, like and deciding to not quit, like every time she power grunted. It was so cool.
Fucking hell, guys.
Dude, I'm crying a little bit.
So I started crying when you got to the top too.
I was like, I cried a lot at the top. I was like, yeah, okay. I don't know, it's like very validating because it feels like I'm actually good at this, you know? So, yeah, I'm like actually good at this.
Off with climbing. Okay,
If I was to describe Off With, I would say that
It's just like so absolutely absurd that it's a really good time.
I think the easiest way to describe it is finding a crack that is fist width and bigger and trying to figure out every single way you can to either move up the crack or stay in the crack.
So you have to learn how to stay in cracks and pray to whoever that you don't slip out or that you can move up.
and you don't get a rest unless you lock in your body.
Putting elbows in, you gotta like double hand stack, you gotta put your knee in, you gotta put your calf in. Sometimes you even put your head in.
Every inch is a mile, and every tiny little bump is one step closer to the anchors, and it's a goddamn wrestle.
Where are we going?
Where are we going?
Do you know? Bad girl's dream.
Yeah.
Bad Girl's Dream, I was really nervous, and there was like a bunch of our friends sitting at the base watching, and I got a bit of performance anxiety. I also wore a knee pad because my knee got messed up. The first go, I got my knee stuck, and then I like yanked it out, and it was just like pulling skin off. I'm like doing butterflies and shitty calf log, and then I shove a knee in already to my like skinned knee, and I go, ah!
Take here.
I got you.
Ow, take please.
I'm sitting on you, Mary.
Mary, your leg's on the rope.
No, this is not awesome.
Mary, here.
I can't see what's going on.
Mary.
My knee's stuck.
Mary, do you want to tie in?
All right, got it. Whew. I need more vibes.
Didn't do so good, cleaned it, came down.
I'm excited to give it another go. All the skin is rubbed off. So I gotta tape it. So I'm gonna do this again today. I'm bleeding through the tape.
Right.
I'm wearing band-aids under that too.
And I took the knee pad off, taped my wound on my knee.
It hurts so bad up there, that's why I got pissed.
I think people underestimate Mary a lot because she's small, and I think that people look at how she climbs and say like it's easy for her because she's smaller. Mary has spent 10 years climbing and perfecting her skills. She's put in her 10,000 hours. We're cozy up here.
We're bad girls dream.
I sent it my second go about maybe half hour later.
All right, Mike, you can take. Look, I bled through the tape. You see that? It's bleed.
Felt good. Yeah, hard, but really good.
She might be one of the best, in fact, she is one of the best female off-width climbers in the world right now. When Mary was going out to try Bad Girl's Dream, it's like right next to Gloria's Fantasy. It's this wide sexist crack that goes up for a long time, has like an overhanging bulge. It's really fucking hard. Last season, I tried it probably like 4 or 5 times, and every single time I was just like, it's impossible. I'm gonna get revenge on this route. It felt like an easier Big Pink, like it was the same exact size. A little bit wider than Big Pink so I could get better chicken wings in.
She's fucking strong.
I basically just walked up to it and sent it. First go, first try.
So that's how you really feel.
Fuck this climb. 10B my ass.
But it felt like redemption to be like, I got it. Like, I got it.
Do I think that women have an advantage or a disadvantage in off-widthing? I pondered about this quite a lot. I think I would tend to default to the answer that every crack has its technique and it has its size, and so for the greater degree, I think it's about even, in my opinion, across men and women when they do off-widths, albeit that, of course, like all cracks, certain sizes are going to suit certain body sizes. So for example, if you've got someone who's bigger and can't get a hip in and can't get a shoulder in, but then you've got someone who's tiny and can get the whole body in and it becomes a chimney, then that's going to be better. But that same person may have a much smaller body size or smaller span and can't reach as far back in really flared cracks to the fists at the back, maybe, for example. So I would say it's pretty darn fair across it, but I mean, that comes from my opinion as a coach and a guy. I mean, I haven't had the chance to be a woman in life.
Jihad, I didn't really get to give it a real go. I went up there with the wrong gear.
I thought Jihad was a character building experience. I think it'd been a second since people had climbed Jihad.
It's just filled with pack rat nests. I couldn't finish the climb with all that stuff in the way. Like, you couldn't jam because of all the stuff.
It's a bird's nest with no gear.
was fucking gross.
I just went into aid mode. I cleaned out the last big pack rat nest.
Without warning, Mary decides to start scooping pack rat nest and shit all down on top of us. It's raining shit. Hallelujah.
Sorry, guys. Danny said you're bring a single rack. He's like, because you bumped the 7 for a ways. I would bring 1 7, 2 6s, and 2 5s. And then the red, the 0.5. And then he did save my ass with the tiny ears. A little bit of the slack there, Mike.
And Sadie followed it and cleaned it out some more. I can't wait to go back and actually like get to do it myself.
This is a pain in the ass route.
Whipping Boy is my current project. I'm not as sendy as Mary, so it takes me a little bit longer to send things.
You know, Whipping Boy's fucking hard.
Yeah! Come on. Oh! It's just kind of scary.
First little bit was really cool. It was a really nice warm up to the fucking heinous crux.
I finally kind of figured that part out.
Dear Lord Satan, please allow Kaya to send. Right now, that would be great.
That felt really good. I top roped it that day and I sent it clean on top rope.
I actually was originally not going to do it, and Kaya one last time she says, "Are you sure you don't want to do it?" And I was like, fuck, okay, fine, I'll fucking do it.
It's just like a really gnarly chicken wing with the right until I can get above the constriction and turn around and go into this like really shitty fists pod. I have all the beta down, I know what I need to do. It's just a matter of like doing it.
Yeah, that thing's brutal.
I mean, I kind of came into Vitavio thinking I was like a 5'12" like sport climber and that I could like pretty much do all the 5'11s.
I taught Sam how to trad climb last fall.
I've never seen anyone so naturally talented at rock climbing before.
Vitavio's like, no, you're not actually even a 5'9" climber. Like maybe you're a 5'9" climber, you're not a 5'10" climber. And I'm like, okay, that's what I'm fighting for.
And she wants it so very badly.
She made me like rest and she made me sit down and like do like a breathing thing for 10 minutes, like take deep breaths, which was actually pretty hard because I was hyperventilating because I was so much like fucking got on Cupcake. I was pretty happy with my first couple attempts at it, but then I just started getting really freaked out when I would get like near the top.
I feel like her greatest flaw is how bad she wants it because it makes her so nervous.
I went for something, I slipped, it caught me, and then I just started like sobbing on the climb. I think it just kind of broke me down emotionally.
She got in her head and we had to tell her to take a step back.
Talked to Mary and Kaya and Sadie and they were all like, you gotta like take a break.
Celebrate your wins and like go climbing for fun. It's supposed to be fun. And
oh, I see why people hate this.
Life without parole. The V4 boulder invert off with boulder problem. It's hard. It's like hard invert off with lots of pressing.
I like realized when I was getting out onto it, I realized that I actually wanted my feet to be facing the other direction. So I would be there on the climb, holding onto my jug, and I would take my left foot completely out of the crack, turn it, and put it back all the way in. I need the left foot to be facing me, you know? I don't want it to be facing backwards.
It's a really good climb. Once you get the technique down, it feels very doable.
And as soon as I got my left foot like hooked over that ledge, I was like, I'm safe.
She's been amazing, and it's been really cool to see her develop those trad skills and put her mind to something because she wants it and get it.
yes. Yes. Girl. Girl.
Hell yeah.
Good job.
Nice job. I set my first boulder here, and then I came back and everyone was like really proud of me. And I was like, wow, okay, so I've done this boulder, you know, I've done a bunch of 5'9s, and now I'm thinking like, Cupcake don't seem so bad anymore.
It's a flared crack, and I'm going up into it, and it's an upside down V. And so my hand's like slipping out as I'm going up because I'm below it. Just every single time I clip, I'm afraid of falling, and for me, it feels very slippery, like my hands are very small. And I'm breathing so hard. If Mary asks, like I was breathing really slowly for the beginning part. I'm trying to calm down. I'm like getting my foot on the pebbles. I'm locking my foot in. I just keep getting it higher. I keep like shoving my elbow in, and then the top is just really not glamorous at all. The top is like just a beach whale, and it's just like you're like humping up. My legs go up actually at the end because I'm just on my knees.
What just happened?
I just sang Cupcake.
Fuck yeah!
Okay. It's not about climbing hard, it's about being yourself, challenging yourself, and appreciating and growing.
I don't want to be that person who's like, the view is significantly sandbagged, but maybe like the world is just soft and Vita View is correct.
But when I got up there, I was like, yes, finally, finally.
So I think the way in which off-whiting has changed since I started is that, one, there's a lot more knowledge about it. People understand the techniques a lot better, there's loads more online. I also think it's become way less macho, street brawling, hard man kind of syndrome about the whole thing. There's more women in it, I see a lot more kids, youths trying it as well. It feels to me like a much more open community, which I think is really cool.
Spatial was hard. It was very tricky. I went in it with like a scouting mindset. It has like a 13R grade, and I was a bit nervous for the R rating. I just went into it with like the mindset of try each move individually, figure out where the gear goes, and just kind of be very cautious. Got to the anchors and
That's a bitch. That's a bitch of a route right there.
Lowered.
Really, really cool route. I think the movement is unique and neat, and it was hard, so I feel challenged, which is fucking awesome.
The saying I think is really safe, takes really good gear the whole way. Oh yeah, I got a 6 fucking stuck.
This is sad. Wah, wah, wah.
I was nervous my first go for sure, and so I just went.
Needs a hammer.
You know what? Fuck it. If somebody wants to like climb this 513 in the day that I'm going to be resting and like take this 6, it's whatever. Nobody did. Imagine that. It was my second day on it, 3rd overall go, and I was super psyched. I had photographed my friend Keisuke on it. I remember watching him do it 2 years ago. I hope that I can climb that one day.
Hail fucking Satan.
I was psyched.
Everything hurts.
Yeah, my shoulders hurt.
My bicep hurts. My inner right thigh hurts.
This shoulder also hurts.
There's a goby on my shoulder that hurts.
My legs are really tight.
There's a goby on each elbow.
Like the little tiny like needles were going in the outside.
My chest hurts, like these muscles.
I'm feeling really good. My ribs are sore though.
The only thing I got on this week was Whipping Boy. Most people do Whipping Boy left side in. If they have smaller butts, they can stay a little farther into the crack. I cannot. My butt is very big. I cannot stay in the crack, and so I have to like go right side in, and I get a better chicken wing with the right, and there's like facey features to grab.
For her, honestly, is way harder. She's just a different size, and it's super hard for her, and she had to come up with some really weird bait to make it happen that was really strenuous.
.11C is fucking hard out here. It's not easy.
Kaya is the only person I've ever seen, and I've filmed a lot of off-width climbers, and she's the only one that like whips out of off-width. She like goes and falls. She goes until failure, and that's like really inspiring to me.
The inside of my sleeve is just like a crusty blood. It's like a scab. It's super disgusting. All right, I'm gonna do it. I took one rest day, I got this. And I tried it and I fell at the hand jam. And then I was like, fuck, okay, I'll do it again the next day. And I did it again the next day and I fell at the hand jam again.
Come on, girl.
And then Mary made the excellent point that maybe I know my beta, but I am just too tired. So I took 3 rest days, which was perfect. I needed to take 3 rest days.
Bitch. I'm sleeping. Goodbye.
I'm not safe with you. This is my home. Because then I went up to it. First go yesterday morning, and I just like walked right up to it and sent it, which was sick.
So glad.
Sick.
I fucking did that.
How you feel?
Good.
What'd you just do?
I just sent Whooping Boy.
Yeah.
Watching Kaya come into this awareness that, you know, she's just as much of a climber as like anybody else. She loves this. She wants this.
I've sent everything that I came here to send. I had like 2 projects and I sent both of them.
I just was kind of nervous going into it. But then the pitch itself, I feel like to lead it is super safe, and it didn't really climb like an off-width. It just kind of climbed like an awkward crawl.
I think someone said this month that she is gunpowder and rusty nails, and I would agree with that.
The leader bumps the gear, and it's really safe to lead. And you have a really bomber rest on this giant potato. Like, you could take a nap up there for like 45 minutes if you wanted to.
So it's like a overhanging flare, so if you come out, like it's really hard to get back in. The ledge is completely covered in like rat shit and piss.
It's just awkward. It's not particularly hard. It's just an awkward climb. And then I just went on my back and just like until like it turned into hands. You do like hand jam, flared hand jam, bone locker hand jam, and then there's a jug. I came down all happy that I never had to do it again. Kaya followed it, and I think following it is actually the scary part of it.
I had a terrible, terrible, terrible time.
She got out of the chimney part and sit on this big potato rest, and she was like, how dare you?
There's no more gear for like 20 feet. Like if I fall out, like there's no way for me to get back in the crack. I will have to like essentially lower to the bottom and like lead on top rope this route again.
Kaya? Yeah. Are you mad at me? No. Are you disappointed? Can we talk about this when I'm off the route? We'll talk about this later.
I was like, I might fall out here. And if I do, there's not an insignificant chance that the rope is gonna shred over the edge here.
I'm sorry.
But then I get to the 6 that she bumped and it's stuck. Which I guess is better than no gear. I was having an experience.
But you know what? It's done. We never have to go back.
I'm not gonna go back anytime soon. I need a break. I need some space.
I started rock climbing as a young adult. I was very poor. And then I got loaned a set of rigid stem friends, and those were my first Camelots. And honestly, without that first set, I would not be where I am today.
Used clothing, I think, is probably the thing that I buy the most. I've bought articles of clothing from used gear stores and spent hundreds and hundreds of hours like wearing it.
On spatial relations, the integral piece that I placed for that climb was actually a 3.5, which they don't make anymore, and I bought it used. I actually bought it off of Rerouted.
Living in it, climbing in it, sleeping in it, waking up the next morning in it, continuing to climb in it. I think it's really, really important.
Investing in new companies like Rerouted that focuses on trying to like get gear back out there is like important.
Buying used gear from places like Rerouted can help get you into the outdoors.
I came here with this lofty list of goals. When I was telling people about it, they told me that it couldn't be done. Ugh. Hail fucking Satan! Hot girl summer! Pretty much done them all.
Having women around you that are supportive and badass and want to do the same things that you want to do and want to support you and you want to support them creates like such a positive feedback loop in rock climbing.
I really enjoyed watching her send Big Pink and get to the top and cry about it because like she finally saw how strong she was and how competent she was.
My ability to climb hard is directly related to the women that I've been climbing with.
It made me cry because I'm like, I've been telling you this the whole time. You're so capable and just as good as the rest of us, even more so in so many other ways. And like, it was cool for her to see that too, you know?
The support of your friends is so vital to rock climbing. Like, we think that it's this sport that you do alone, but without your friends, you can't send. Like, you need a partner to belay you, you need someone to spot you, you need someone to motivate to do the trip with you.
Every success I had, my girlfriends would be like, I'm proud of you for this.
The friendship is almost as the climbing.
I know that if I get it, you'll be happy for me. I know that if I don't, you'll be proud that I tried.
It's meant a lot to me. It makes me feel like I can rock climb hard if I put my mind to it and if my friends are there with me.
If you try hard enough, if you train enough, you can make anything happen if you really want it.
Wow, that was a very nice film. Looked like you guys were having a lot of fun out there. I'd like to introduce Kaya Lindsay, and she's here. She made this film. She's here tonight. First question I got for you. What do you do for YCA and the Yosemite Facelift?
I do your guys' social media marketing. So anytime you see anything on our Instagram, our Facebook pages, all that kind of stuff, that is me. So
here's
hi,
Kaya.
nice to meet you in person.
All right. And you also did some blogging for a while, and then now you have a film. What prompted you to get into filmmaking?
That's a really good question. I have always really been attracted to stories. Stories in climbing in particular I find to be really inspirational. And I didn't see any films out there that really represented me and the type of climbing that I liked to do, and the emphasis on female friendships. And so for me, making a film about women climbing in Vidavoo and focusing highly on our the friendships and like the community, to me that was really important. And so getting into filmmaking was kind of a way for me to share my story and also share that unique perspective that I haven't found too much in other climbing films. So
to me it looked like you were having a lot of fun.
Yes, we had a lot of fun. The blooper reel comes out in like a week, and I'm really excited to release that.
That's amazing. And is this the premiere?
This is the first time I've showed it like publicly. I mean, I released it on my YouTube channel, and I released it on like a couple other places, but like I haven't like shown it. So it's kind of exciting.
I think we need to work on getting you guys a sponsor. I'm thinking like Johnson & Johnson or some sort of medical pads or something to like protect you guys. I mean, that looks gnarly.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, I think maybe Laura might have some questions for you.
Sure, yeah. I'm just kind of curious about the crew of people that helped put that film together. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, it was me and Mary. It was mostly me and Mary. A friend of ours made a joke that like the most technologically advanced piece of equipment we had was a really big stick. which is true. We had like an extendable stick that looked like a stick clip, and we put a GoPro on the end of it, and that's how we got a lot of the footage. Is we just like had a big stick that you could like point down and see us climbing. Yeah, so it was me, Mary, Sam, who you saw, did a little bit of the filming. We had a good friend, Ruben, who didn't make a debut in the film. He did film Mary sending spatial relations, which is about 13 minus. But I did all the editing, and I hustled for all the sponsors, and I produced it, and we filmed it, and I did all the sound and all that stuff and all the music. So it was mostly, yeah, it's a big women team.
That's awesome, Kaya.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how did you meet Mary, who is in the film with you?
So Mary and I met at a fortuitous time in Vitavu, actually last summer in 2020, and we both were going through breakups at the time. And so we, when you go through a breakup, you go to rock climb in Vitavu. And she had like one of the most empowering breakthrough seasons of her career. And she sent like 8 different like 513s on off-width, and I sent like 3 things, and it was really empowering. But yeah, we met, and we're basically kind of like in the same headspace mentally. And we're like, do you want to like climb together and like do hard stuff? And she was like, yeah, I do. And I was like, great. And then we just started climbing together, doing clinics together. That's where we met Sam, who was the other person in the film. And Sam is probably one of the most naturally talented rock climbers I've ever met. Like, she's only been climbing for she's only been trad climbing for less than a year. Wow. And she's already like whipping on gear and like knows how to ring lock and like can do hard stuff. So, but yeah, that was kind of our Genesis story.
Cool, yeah. It's just nice to see the female friendships. I honestly choked up a little bit when Mary is like so proud of you and also gets choked up. It's just like still refreshing to see things that are outside of kind of the Disney model and so focused on female friendship. And yeah, I just thought the film was really powerful in that way. Also, I want to bring up your rad t-shirt that you're wearing. Yes. Are those for sale, maybe?
Yes, I am selling these on my website. You can find them at onechicktravels.com. They are currently out of stock because I have to buy more before I can sell them. But this is promoting the film. It supports women in filmmaking, women in rock climbing. It's also a completely women-owned company, like from the design to the printing. Everything involved in making these shirts is women-owned and locally as much as I could do it in the United States. So, yeah, you can definitely buy those.
Cool. Thanks so much, Kaya. We'll have one more music video from Hedris, and that'll play now. Thanks again to Hedgeris for his video submissions. He's such a talented musician, and thanks for participating in Facelift. So up next, we will have a video that I actually have not seen yet either. So it's going to be about aerial silks. I think most of it will take place in Yosemite National Park, and that will be brought to you by Ryan and Priscilla.
Hello and welcome to your Facelift presentation. We have been volunteering and helping pick up the park ever since we moved here years ago.
When Ken first asked us to make a facelift presentation, we were humbled and a little bit intimidated. Past presenters like Jim Reynolds and Mike Lebecki have stood on this stage and shared some of the most mind-blowing adventures I've ever heard. A majority of our time here has been spent helping our talented friends accomplish their own goals.
And that's really one of the cool parts about living here, the fact that it's such a draw for some really cool characters.
It's been such a privilege helping these amazing athletes who come here from all around the world. Even though we're the ones helping them, I feel like I take away so much more than they even know.
We feel really fortunate to have played a small part in some of the most ambitious projects in the park and to have been able to work with some really awesome people. The more that we've helped our friends achieve their own goals, the bigger our bag of tricks has become and the more places we can go and explore.
And that is the story we hope to share with you today. How collaboration with friends, the special people here, and the freedom to explore our own potential have allowed us to redefine what is possible for us in the vertical realm.
If we're going to talk about collaboration, the sharing of knowledge and growth, it makes sense to begin with how we got here.
I grew up in Southern California and started taking dance lessons at a very young age. I continued to do that until I was pressured to go to college. I spent 5 years studying mechanical engineering and eventually made the move to Yosemite once I got my degree. When I arrived in Yosemite, I felt like I was a true beginner. I had obtained just enough knowledge on how to safely belay and rappel on my own. I just had such a strong passion for the outdoors, and I just followed my heart and pushed myself to do more and more, mainly because there was an opportunity for me to learn, and I took that opportunity and got involved and made friends and put myself out there. I have experienced a lot of my firsts here in the park, including my first climbing lead. I hopped on my first high line. I began aerial silking after I moved here. I also got on my first big wall here in the park. I'm so grateful to have been welcomed into this community of people.
As a child, much of my time was spent in nature, either in the woods behind my house or at the ski resort across the street. With skiing, I was able to challenge myself and learn how to navigate progressively more complex mountain terrain. After graduating high school, I moved to Denali National Park in search of more difficult objectives. And it is here that I found my first trad climbing mentor, Tyler. It was exactly the same kind of adventure I was chasing while backcountry skiing. This is just one of those classic Yosemite situations. Kevin Jorgensen had just finished the first free ascent on this face, and we were going to help him celebrate by grabbing some of the ropes. Since we worked day jobs, we had to start after dark when our shifts ended. I am able to climb these walls because of the mentorship I received from people like Joe Marley and Eric Sloan.
That was rockfall number 5. Here comes number 6. Look, look, look! Oh, me!
And this is like the complete opposite of the other clip. I don't enjoy showing this at all, but it could offer better perspective for understanding our points of view. It's this consistent, slow accumulation of knowledge that has kept me safe in sports where the consequences for failure are catastrophic. When you're pulling on gear and really going for it, people say you're going on a vision quest. And that's because you're going up into the unknown. You kind of have to face your own doubts and see what you're capable of. I wouldn't let fear tarnish such an important part of my life. So we planned a 14-day ascent at tribal right about a month after the incident. I was able to find peace from an unlikely source. Just as Yosemite draws climbers from all over the world, there's a pretty solid community of highliners here as well. I've been able to find a renewed sense of belonging while sitting on a highline, and it was exactly the kind of activity that could ease me back into longer days and harder projects. The idea of using big wall climbing as a vessel to access powerful and untrodden areas ended up not being a new one. It sent me down the most amazing rabbit hole, and I learned about how a group of vertical dancers broke ground on this concept years ago.
I had once heard the story about these Bandaloop dancers hopping on El Capitan and climbing up the shield. And each performer not only danced, but led at least one pitch on the route. And that's so inspiring.
Okay. I'm gonna stall and I'm gonna go up like this.
Lima.
Lima, here it goes.
Tajin.
You're holding me, right, bro?
Long line. Long it. Go in.
I'm gonna go under again. Here we go.
These artists have been exploring the vertical realm for over 2 decades now, and their projects have received the support of prolific valley climbers and first ascensionists. It's funny to look back at old videos of ourselves.
Nice! That was sick! Yeah, where are you supposed to... Oh!
Without any direction and unprovoked, we found ourselves expressing ourselves very much in the same way. We were just taking a ride on the abundance of energy that happens to hover a few hundred feet above the valley floor.
My first experience silking on the extreme level was in the alcove of El Capitan.
What time is it?
Hammer time.
Hammer time. No, it's gummy time.
The Alcove project is a sort of proof of concept. Turned out to be quite the success. I mean, it proved the concept was rad.
I had hopped on South Seas. About 3 hours had passed, and I made it about halfway up the pitch. It just worked out that where I had stopped was the perfect place to build an anchor for one side of the highline, and so I guess it worked out. I can say that it sort of worked out.
It more than worked out. Priscilla tackled this route as one of her first aid leads and got our team up the difficult pitch to where we needed to be.
That was perfect right over the moon. Yeah. Oh, that one too. Oh.
As Kaj, Scooter, and Mitch took the lead in rigging the line, I was blown away by the level of expertise and talent that had taken up residence in the valley. These guys were busy setting records, discussing the ethics and intricacies of leave-no-trace rigging, and establishing new techniques to set lines without permanent anchors. For such a short wall, this route has a star-studded and interesting history. It took 3 generations of effort to free the route in its entirety. Dale Bard sent the first pitch, which is now rated 512. Mikey Schaefer then came in and added 2 more on top of that, including the crux pitch. And the route would continue to sit like that until one day Mason Earl showed up and decided he would want to top that. When Connor Lund and John Appleberry first told me about their winter project, I didn't give it much thought. I'm not a free climber, and I'm not really getting hot and bothered over some 513 which never sees any traffic. But the promise of splitter cracks, big roofs, and moderate aid climbing was enough to get both me and Prillis psyched.
Once you start looking at the walls, you'll see that sure, there's a handful of overhung things, but there's so many more that aren't. And so to find that space where it's possible to rig is, you don't always find that too often.
We supported our friends by providing belays and snacks while also experimenting with our own haul, safety, and rigging systems. What we found while climbing the upper pitches was the perfect incubator to grow our dream of one day starting at the base and dancing our way to the top of El Cap. We really had to ask ourselves,
like, what's stopping us from hauling up a little bit more gear? And besides the effort, I mean, it was doable.
And with that acceptance of total doability, we decided to head to a wall and try some of our new techniques. I've climbed this route a few times, but I've never had a partner that was excited to bring a whole haul bag full of dead weight. We planned for a capsule-style ascent, which would use a ledge halfway up the wall to easily access the summit and the anchors from which Priscilla was going to fly. Since it was our first time trying to use aerial silks while committed to a multi-day wall, we were still figuring out what each of us would consider to be a successful mission. Knowing Priscilla brought herself up here to perform her art really added to the moment. She led every pitch and even hauled the bags too.
I think that, wow, I led every single one of those pitches. I hauled up my silks. I flew not only once, but had 2 little sessions up there, and we successfully got all of our gear down without any problems. And it still blows my mind. I still can't believe it.
I've climbed quite a few walls with Priscilla, and after this ascent it was quite clear she was more than ready to climb El Cap.
There she is.
Looking good, girl. You so got this.
Dude, she led this pitch, and now she's gonna silk off this.
Dude, that's the next level, dude. Lead it and silk it.
Okay, we're going.
I'm not too sure how I found the extra energy to silk, but after waking up at the top of the nipple pitch and looking out to see Horsetail Falls flowing right beside us, this provided me the extra encouragement I needed to know that my time was now.
The what?
Nipple for breakfast, bro.
Nipples for breakfast!
Breakfast of champions.
Yeah!
Oh my goodness. After bringing my silks up a single pitch and up a multi-pitch, Ryan had been very interested and stoked on rigging natural high lines, and we went up the gun sight and established an all-natural line in the notch between Middle and Lower Cathedral Rock.
We brought exactly 60 meters of webbing to do the job, and it ended up being like perfect.
I think that is probably one of the most beautiful lines I have ever rigged. It was so cool bringing my silks out on that line. I felt like I was in a dream. It was a time when the valley was filled with smoke and the haze brought in this eerie, witchy feeling. This line is so special because not only did we establish it and was it all natural, but I was able to also bring other silk artists out onto the line for their first time. This is our homemade space net. Glad it works.
Smash, I'm a killer. Let a young Yosemite get up in it. Bring a friend and she might get up in it. Leave your man cause he might get offended. Move out the way cause I'm coming through fast. All through the woods where we going though. Gas, running through the village in the flash.
them?
Oh, hell yeah. It was like,
Fuck yeah, dude.
5,
I feel like it was just
4, 3, 2,
See you, buddy.
1.
In the building like
That was dope.
it's gotta be cold and you gotta be a
That was great.
That was
That was a little hairy.
That was sick, dude.
If you're a climber, you're like just the shoulder width of surface area, whereas a highline.
Give me your biggest smile, Mitch. Ah, it's a big one. It's a real big one. So bright. What's Ryan doing back there? And there's Devin.
What's that?
Oh my god!
Dude, that was fucking sick.
Dude, it's gonna be so loose when I get off. Damn, this is gnarly. I think. Just if you could if your phone works, just give me a circle.
You want this ladder? Clip it, dude.
Get me off this thing.
So
Yeah, buddy!
Nice.
Yosemite Lost Arrow. Boys Town. Whoa.
Wow, that was interesting. That's a sport I know very little about, and I imagine it's relatively new, at least in Yosemite. With us, we have Ryan Sheridan, who is in the movie. Unfortunately, Priscilla can't make it tonight because she has to work. Ryan, it looks like you guys are just having a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, that's the goal, I guess.
But, I mean, you're not only doing silks, Priscilla's doing silks, but it looked like you guys are jumping and slacklining or highlining and, you know, kind of putting the whole thing together.
Yeah, we're just trying to practice all these sports in the most beautiful location we can imagine. And for us, that's usually up on the big walls. And it's been really cool figuring out a process to take these things to a place where they're not really being used.
And then I noticed at the beginning of the film, she had shorter silks, I thought, and gradually went longer and longer. How long are those silks, and do they go longer?
Yeah, I think they're like around 20 meters, and then you fold them in half. You can get them any size you want, but we are running into issues with the wind. So the bigger they are, they're going to act like a sail. And
you took away my next question. I was wondering if you'd ever been up there in a gnarly windstorm. It seems like it'd be terrifying.
Yeah, definitely. And it's cool because you can assess what the weather conditions are doing just a few minutes before you go out. So if it's bad, you don't go.
I have a safety concern or a question. I mean, how do you keep her safe up there? I imagine you don't go leashless.
Yeah, so she's tied in. We have a master point, which is usually built to the same strength as a highline anchor, which is more than the standard climbing anchor you're clipping into the whole way up the route. So you're relatively way more safe when you're silking than when you're actually climbing to get to the location you're going to silk in.
Do you ever worry about her kind of wrapping around that safety line on the way down, or did that take some practice?
So we have like a pulley system to initiate a rescue if we had to, but we've never had to, and it's usually something you can manage with a little thought.
Looks kind of terrifying to me. My youngest daughter used to do silks, you know, in the backyard kind of thing, but this is a whole new level. Does Priscilla have a big goal that she's working towards? A future project, or?
I can't speak for any like big goals that she's been planning towards right now, but I know she's just trying to practice outside and being nature and push her limits. So we're going to continue to do bigger walls and harder routes and try to take them to new places, but nothing in particular right yet.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Ryan, and really appreciate your coming down here and putting that video together.
Yeah.
And thank Priscilla for us, please, and
yeah,
thanks
and
for coming
thank
down.
you, and thank all the volunteers who make this event happen and keep Yosemite clean.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, so that actually concludes our programming for Facelift 2021. So we want to make sure that we thank all of our amazing presenters, all of the musicians we had involved, all of our sponsors and partners, and of course, all of those who actually participated in the cleanup. And remember that there's actually still 2 days, so you can sign up for Act Local.
I'd also like to thank Michelle Ang for the beautiful artwork this year. It's Yosemite Facelift's artwork. And we use that for our t-shirt. We'll print up more because I understand we ran out already. And then we also use it on the water bottles from Clean Canteen that we pass out. And Tioga Sequoia, our partner, makes a beer, a facelift beer for us. And Ryan, I'd like to give you this 6-pack of beer.
Thanks, Ken.
And take that home and share it with Priscilla, please. And also, I'd like to take a special thanks. We have people that start early and work on this all year round. They come here before the facelift starts. They help during the facelift, and they also help when everybody goes home, and I got to put all that stuff away. Those people are Allison Gonzalez. We got Linda Jarrett, George Ridgely, Eric Gable, Ed Hartooni. Thank you guys so much. I couldn't do it without you. And remember, you can facelift anytime.
And I'd just like to say that if you like projects that the YCA supports, like Facelift and the Climbing Museum, please consider giving us a donation. So you can go to yosemiteclimbing.org and you can scroll all the way to the bottom of that webpage and click the donate button. And yeah, we would really appreciate the support from our community. This is kind of a big year for us, really fully committing to the YCA and its future. So please hit that donate button and support us. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. See you next year.